Thokozani, thank you for joining us in this episode. Bab'Mahlangu, we'll be talking about something that everybody loves. You know, we all love money, except myself. So we're talking about money rituals because there's an edge for people ukuthi bathwale or perform money rituals. We are going to look at, you know, pros and cons and as to whether should we do it or not. Okay, money rituals are actually bad. The spiritual foundations of money rituals are bad, especially if you go to the far extreme side. But there are levels which are still acceptable, which are still very ethical, that align with your ancestors, and that use natural resources to basically elevate or to cultivate. So lama money rituals esikhuluma ngawo khona, there are money rituals ekuthiwa the basic ones, incisions, ritual baths, and elevations. They are good, but when it comes to ezinye zeyithwalo and other ones that require sacrifices, that's where one needs to really exercise their ethical decision making. Elevation rituals, iphakamo, they are safe. And the reason why they are safe, it's because they are, number one, using natural resources. They are linked to your ancestors. They expand your capacity of attracting money. They make you a money attraction or money magnet. So they are very safe because there are no sacrifices. There are no terms and conditions. All you ever do is just to follow the instructions on how to raise your energy, your money attraction energy, to create wealth spiritually that you are going to physically work for with your hands. So they're mostly suitable for people who are working hard, who just need to raise their potential of making incomes. And there is nothing that's going to work for you which is spiritual. There's no sacrifice, and there's not even terms and conditions you need to follow afterwards. Okay, so we've got different levels, or we've got different levels of potential luck. So now, when it comes to fortune, people are not equal; they're not the same. So Umakosi Napokujo, she's the one who specializes in that. If you would like to know how much or how big is your fortune, so I'd recommend that you send us a message so that she can check. She checks using very complex numbers, you know, which are attached to your birth dates, numerological systems. So now, when your luck is small, elevations can help increase the capacity of your fortune. But when your fortune is big, it will automatically attract as big as it is, because 1 + 1 is 2. If you add 1 + 1 should give you 2. If you do money elevation rituals and you put in the hard work, it's going to bring exact results that you're expecting. But if your luck is not so much and you have went through the consultation processes, you know that it's not that much. That's when you can now use elevations to expand the capacity of your fortune. That's when you can make more. So in terms of how much can you make in your elevations, like I said, with money elevations, you do not use any spirit that's going to change anything. But it's natural resources that we execute so well that they're able to increase your capacity. Depending on how much you put in, you can get a little bit more. If you are making thousands, you can make at least hundreds from money elevation rituals. But if you want to make millions and you don't have the capacity, that's when you can look into what we don't practice here at Spirit Mode, which is ithwalo, that have got imikomela and imibanda, terms and conditions, which are sometimes hard to keep and sometimes require very heavy sacrifices. But elevations don't need sacrifices. That's why I would consider them safe. They are aligned and linked to your ancestors, to your natural potential and wealth, your fortune, which will be expanded using natural resources. Beautiful question. When you go for spiritual incisions, or rather money incisions, to increase the potential or profitability of how much you attract money. So incisions do not have terms and conditions, do not have any danger, especially if what is used is purely natural resources, right? But if these incisions are connecting you to a living being, a spiritual being like Umantindani, Tukoloshi, and ghosts and things like that, so there will be terms and conditions because that entity will be serving you and it requires something in return. But if you're basically getting incisions for money only to increase your ability of creating wealth, meaning that your attraction of wealth, that's like increasing your electromagnetic attraction as a human. So we are basically working on your vibrational energy, on how much it can attract money. So in this instance, it's something that is not going to be detrimental to to your future. So money rituals that will invite entities which you didn't basically anticipate or cause misfortune. It's the fact that traditional healers, sometimes they are very conniving. They're not truthful in some of their work. So when they take you through a certain money ritual, they don't explain to you what are the disadvantages, because I believe if they explained everything, you wouldn't necessarily take it. So some of them are very sinister. They will give you something which you didn't know after some time would require a bigger sacrifice than one you're sacrificing. Because once you start killing chicken, you must know there is a probability of raising standards of your sacrifice. But otherwise, you should know. Some of them don't have side effects that are like that, but it's because healers are sometimes not honest. Because if you take money rituals that are linked to your ancestors, they will not by any means invite other spirits which will take over and mess up your life. Okay, so that's going to be hard for people to track, because some of these things that we use for money rituals, they actually work like knives. A knife is a beautiful tool that you can use in the kitchen to prepare food. A knife is a beautiful tool that you can use for self-defense. A knife is a beautiful tool which you can use in a sinister way to destroy someone's life, to kill them, to unalive them. So you wouldn't necessarily know exactly as a person who's going to take this, but the person who knows is one that performs the money ritual. So unfortunately, you need to go to someone who can be brutally honest with you, because you'll find yourself tapping into things that you don't want to deal with later on. Okay, yes, portals are being opened when you are going to perform high magic, which involves invocation of foreign spirits, angelic forces or demonic forces or other earthly spirits which are there to serve you and help you make money. Ithwalo, inyoka, umantindane, opiyano, and things like that. So once you've opened for them, there is no way to block them if the way was not. In fact, there is a way. But as a person who took it, it's going to be difficult. Before these entities are introduced in your life, they must be completely controlled. And you need to follow terms and conditions to the T to ensure that you don't fall by the other side of, that entity. You need to always be in line with that entity. So how do you protect yourself after that? Simple. If you take something, it troubles you, we, as I say, we just destroy it. We take it away, because having entities that have their own will and their own interest over your life could be very detrimental. That's why you lose your children. That's why people who are taking these dangerous high magic elevation rituals, not elevation, ipagam, itwalo, they end up, with women that experience multiple miscarriages, because these things are tapping into that. And they have to have a lot of girlfriends. They have to, sleep with men, do very funny things, because these things are requiring some type of compensation for the work they do. The long-term consequences will be devastating if you obtain wealth through ways that your ancestors do not approve of or accept. Because obviously you are going to shift your ancestors out of the way, and this entity which is now responsible for your life to bring wealth is now governing your life. So if this entity is not going to agree with you in ahead of time, so there's going to be a problem. Imagine if this entity now wants a sacrifice that you don't want, that you're not willing to give. That's why we find celebrities who just boom and after some time they die. It's because there is a heavy sacrifice that's demanded. If you are not able to produce the sacrifice, then you become the sacrifice. So ancestors should always be put ahead. Do not try to overexpand your luck, because your luck was assigned to you according to the life's mission. If you go beyond, then you might come across those detrimental circumstances. Okay, to restore your wealth and to actually get back to a proper financial path after participating in rituals that actually blocked or brought misfortune, you basically have to cleanse. That's the first thing. You need to erase all residue that actually was left off from that, or which was imparted in your life, which actually brought about those undesirable results. You need to start by cleansing all of it. Once you've cleansed it, then you need to go for ways which are ethical, that are linked to your ancestors, which use natural resources. Natural resources, we also talk about animals. So these animals, they are part of nature. And when you take in their DNA or their energy vibration. It augments your overall energy. That's why it can make you an extremely attractive person in terms of money and wealth. So that's not bypassing. But there are certain things which will now serve as principles in your life, and they will, in most cases, be contrary to your ancestors, unless otherwise your ancestors were basically custodians of such dark arts. They will definitely allow them, and they will keep them. They will basically be in line with everything that's happening. But the first thing, you cleanse, and after that you start subscribing to pure ethical ways of attaining wealth or actually enhancing your wealth. Well, siyabonga bantwana bethongo. I hope this information is going to help you understand money rituals. We all want money, but we are promoting ethical use of everything that's here on earth, and also allowing your ancestors to become your holy guardians, to guard you, to walk with you in this path. Do not lose them at any point, because entities and spirits don't have your best interest at heart, and one day they might just decide to spite you or to work against you. But your ancestors are always there to protect you. They've got your best interest at heart. So I hope this information will help you make the right decisions. Until we meet again, please stay blessed.